We are both recording. Awesome. For anybody who is already dialed in on our various platforms, thank you so much for that. And if you're listening to a recording, thanks also for listening in. Coop, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm barely awake. It's just been really a hustle to get to this stage, and I'm very excited to press the big button very
Lovely.
soon here.
Cool. I mean, we've got a lot of exciting updates. I'm sorry that you had to, I guess, pull out all-nighters to get that done, but I'm sure it's going to be worth it. Maybe we can kind of set the scene right away. Coop, do you want to talk about what you're sharing today and also why people should care? And of course, we're going to dive deeper into a lot of different things, and I'm going to have a lot of questions about Nullshot, about the new features and so on. But give us maybe some general context.
Yeah, I mean, I think today we're going to be talking about what we've been working on for the last few weeks. For the people who have been using us, and they now have access. So some people were blocked for the last few weeks, which we're just a small team, didn't get to actually see that issue until we unblocked it. But at the same time, the platform has been pretty unstable for the last few weeks, and with Chinese New Year, again, small team, we just been really pulling together like how to harness an AI and make it run really, really well, which we'll talk about that. And yeah, like in terms of what's going to come out today, we'll talk about AI skills, OpenClaw, and the latest updates on the web app. And then I would love to talk about the bigger picture of this new idea of Kinto blocks and the fun creation of videos, which is coming out right around the corner.
Super cool. And also maybe just to set expectations, with regards to stuff that we're going to be talking about, is anything becoming like live in public today, or is it more about talking about things that will come live in the near future?
So what we're talking about is that we're going to give out a custom code for anybody that's watching today. So as we're streaming, we should probably repeat this code and that you'll get access right away. In terms of the features and everything that we will be talking about, they'll be slowly released right after, but it will be important for the next 24 hours for people watching this 3 p.m. or 4 p.m.
Mm,
Hong Kong time on March 7th. You'll have 24 hours to use the code early bird, which will get you straight into the platform right away.
super cool. Nice. And also, I'll take, of course, the opportunity for anybody listening to this to invite you to follow us on all the different platforms that we're on, whether it's Twitter or X, or Telegram, or Discord, because of course we're having those types of calls, recordings, restreams on a regular basis, and there's a lot of exciting either incentives or announcements that are being made, just like this one. So definitely stay in touch. Cool. Let's dive into it. Can you talk about maybe the most exciting thing that you're working on right now as it relates to Nullshot, and what you want to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's two exciting things, and I don't know, I could talk for hours on it, so it'd be good for us to go back and forth. But the first one is just the big upgrade on our agents. So, what has been happening in the last month is that we released full stack apps, which was a way to be able to get databases and have like login and sign up and email and all this stuff, so that that works like out of the box. And what happened is that if one agent or AI is trying to work for a very long time on a large task, it tends to get confused and lost. So we actually had to start developing multiple agents, like a team together to start working together. But just like any team at the beginning, once they start, learning how to flow, usually butt heads, step on toes, and the AIs did just that. So what's really cool that's going to be going out in the next hour is that we've went really deep into it, and we have a much more stable version of 7 different agents that are invisibly building your code underneath the hood. And there's even a watchdog who's kind of whipping them into place once things fall off track. So very excited to see what people build in the coming weeks, because it's pretty powerful, and I've seen some very, very cool apps that the AI has been generating on its own.
No, super cool. And I definitely want to hear about the cool apps, that are being developed. Is there any, I guess, relationship with, it feels like everything's moving and getting a bit more agentic, and there's the big thing about OpenClaw. Do you have a take on this and how that could potentially integrate into Nullshot?
Yeah, so I think Levels.io just said, I've been playing a lot with OpenClaw and it's really cool and everything and exciting, but it's not that useful.
Mm,
And that is actually the current state of OpenClaw. But then if you go look at Judson, the CEO of NVIDIA, he's like, OpenClaw is the most profound software on earth. Now, how could you go from not that useful to the most profound?
right.
The reason being is that we may know this thing called Linux, which is a competing operating system against Microsoft's Windows and the Mac OS. There's Linux, which is a very big one, the largest open source software that took 30 years to build and grow itself. OpenClaw has surpassed the downloads of Linux,
Right.
right? The largest open source thing. So that's what Jensen's like coming, in and saying about this. So really, what that means is that we're in a very interesting beginning. And when I hear that there's a bunch of people downloading this, that means there's curiosity and community. And for us, what that means is that we decided instead of launching a hosted OpenClaw, we call it Agent Claw, which it is based on the same code base, but everything is managed. And what does that mean? It means that instead of you having to figure out how to set up the connection to Telegram, it's one click away for us. So how you want to connect it to Slack or Google, again, it's one click away. And then there's like more advanced features, like let's say you want to have access to data on Twitter. Usually that costs money. You need to go sign up, put in a credit card, get an API key, do this nerdy stuff. Again, you can just instantly ask, how many followers does Coop have on Twitter? Which usually it's blocked and you have access. What's the engagement rate on my last three tweets in the last 72 hours? It can calculate and figure that out. So that's what's really exciting is that we're trying to unblock the friction it takes for the technicality of like some of this like connections to data, and then we're also going to unblock the friction of being able to create functionality. So OpenClaw is actually famous for writing its own code, and doing that in a secure way. We actually have a way that you can do that on Nullshot as well.
Mm. And so to double click on this and maybe an earlier point I was asking about is that live yet, or is that something that's coming up and is going to be available for users?
That is live right now. So if you use the code early bird, you can actually create your own Agent Claw right now. I think the only thing that might be a little buggy for the next hour is like the login with Google, but yeah, everything's looking pretty good. Which,
Super
by the
cool.
way, I'm not sure if you heard of the OpenClaw deleting emails. We
Yeah,
only have read only access right now, so don't worry about
okay.
that.
I think that makes sense. I'm still a bit suspicious about this particular case because I think it was the head of security at Meta, right, that had that thing happen, or was it for like multiple people that had this experience?
Well, what I found is that people like to copy pasta viral posts, and it
Right.
actually works really well.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, OpenClaw doesn't actually have a way to write emails. So whoever did that either faked it or created their own skill to be able to do it.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, the internet's the internet. You just don't know what's real anymore.
Yeah, yeah. No, but the reason I asked that is because I think the most famous case, at least, was like the head of security at Meta, and I just find it like a little bit suspicious that essentially you have someone that's so high level that would have had that one issue where I know multiple people that are using OpenClaw in various different way and haven't had those types of issues. Not to say that there aren't security concerns and other things that could happen wrong, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
think it just makes the tweet or the news juicier.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, precisely. There's like it's like a doctor looking for sick people. It's like there's an issue. That's why why I'm needed. With regards to Agent Claw, on null shots, is there something fundamentally different to the experience or the thesis that OpenClaw is offering right now to other people? Of course, you've just talked about how easy it is, to one click connect to different platforms or apps. Is that the main differentiator? Is there anything else that kind of, I don't know, changes the experience because of it being on Allshot?
yeah, I'll dive into two. One is that we are experimenting with a canvas. So what that means is that you'll be able to out of the box like ask it to visualize stuff. So like instead of looking at like a table or some text that's giving me my engagement rates on my Twitter, maybe I want to see it on a chart, or maybe I wanted to grab real time Bitcoin price in the last 7 days and do that again visually on a chart, and then put volumes on a bar chart. You could do that. You could just ask it and describe it, and it can create a visualization for you to essentially see and play with. So that's one of them. The other one that's really scary and cool, which it's still super early, is the voice feature. So we have a start call with Agent Claw, and it goes straight into this female voice that you can chat with and literally talk to it, and it will do the work with you. So that's actually just, I don't know for anybody who's been playing with AI, but we squeeze that in because the feeling to ask, somebody something and hear it back and see them do work, it's another level. It's just is eerie. It feels like I'm in the movie Her.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. And do you think it's going to change the workflow process, I guess, on Nullshot? As in, Nullshot, of course, has this very unique feel of something that's social, where you have multiple people interacting with each other to vibe code something into existence. Is kind of Agent Claw replacing that process, or is it supplementing it, or is it helping with something at a later stage? Like, how are you thinking about that?
Yeah, it's supplementing it in two ways. One is that there's this awesome protocol called Agent Client Protocol, or yeah, Agent ACP, and it's what it does is it allows really any agent to talk to any agent. So what does that mean? I just talked about the team of agents on Nullshot, and then we have Agent Claw, right? We're just living and surrounded by agents. But what if Agent Claw wants to go build something and make something? Well, this ACP standard makes it dead simple to go do it. So what that means is that I would say in the next week or two, you'll be able to be on Telegram with your Agent Claw and say, hey, we have this idea. We've been talking about building this website. Could we get, the front page for it? Could we start working on it? And Agent Claw will go and create a jam room and start developing it. And you will see Agent Claw and they're like a user asking the other agents, to start working for it. And then you're a co-owner of this room since your agent created it, and you can come and start diving in yourself, or maybe you're just going to be talking to it on Telegram and it's going to send you a link like, oh, here's your URL to the website idea. What do you think so far? You got some feedback? So yeah, that's the supplementary part. The second part of the same vein is that we've expanded a new type of jam rooms called AI skills. So what that means is, as I was saying, Agent Claw was writing its own code, which is really just its own context and sometimes logic of how it can run. An AI skill is actually the form of how it writes itself. So you can create a jam room that is creating a skill, which is an expert at generating images or talking to some data that we don't have a connector for yet. And once you create that, or maybe Agent Claw creates that, you now can publish this skill for everybody to use. And in the very near future, you'll also be able to monetize it. So if somebody decides to use your skill based on what we're charging them, you'll be getting a piece of that.
Right, right, right. Kind of echoes something you had talked a bit in the past where, and tell me if I'm explaining or remembering this right, but there's some prompts and some results that can be used by other users at some other point in the future, right? So you can kind of save on the cost of having to recreate that from scratch. And so I guess you could almost do a parallel between that and them using the same work or the same skills that are used by your Agent Claw, correct?
That's exactly right. This is the first step to that, and definitely want to talk about the next two jam rooms that are coming out, which is going even deeper into it. But what we should all be thinking about here, in terms of the value that us as a community can get with Nullshot, is that when we share code and when we share logic and when we share context that these agents are using, instead of having to pay OpenAI and Anthropic every single time to generate that logic, if there's something similar, even if it's 50% similar, why not copy paste it and mod it? And why pay Anthropic another $5 when I can pay Justin, 25 cents to get half of his copy and start modding it into what works for me? And
Mm.
do that in a way where it's not a directory. Like you can of course go do the old school way, like you scroll through a directory, you look for your template, you copy pasta, whatever. But actually, it's much smarter for an agent to just do a quick search in 300 milliseconds. Here's 10 million, skills. Actually, what Justin's looking for is this 70% of this, 10% of that, and I'll add in the 20. And next thing you know, you're saving money and you're getting it much faster.
Yeah. No, I totally love the idea of like a best of both world type of scenario where you have like more people being able to be remunerated for their previous or existing work. And it's also saving costs for the person who's using that material, right? So you're kind of like saving costs, but also rewarding more people. So yeah, super powerful.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get us on a call with three lawyers, hopefully in the next couple months. Two of them that are deep in the IP, one that's like a CIO at a law firm, another that's like in house at HSBC, and another that's a principal at Freshfield. So like top seeing a bunch of stuff and ask them where is IP going? Because the whole thesis and when I share people this idea is like, oh, nobody's gonna want to share, AI skills. It's their skills. I'm like, well, we're actually going to be able to vibe any idea instantly, in the next few months. So what is IP? What are we taking? If I just look at your website and I can make it in like 10
Yeah.
hours, like
Yeah.
why? Why
Yeah.
hide it? Versus
Yeah.
getting paid to give me something to, start off of.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely think it's going to get weird because I'm sure there's like a lot of cases to be made for it and a lot of cases to be made against it and probably value in both, right? So, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. In my cases, hopefully people align is like, are we going to pay OpenAI to copy it or am I going to pay the originator? So might as well, share the money in the right flow, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wanted to ask also a quick question to go back to, what you talked about the whole case with OpenClaw kind of deleting emails and so on is, am I right to understand that, sorry for the dog noise next to me. Um, and any reason, any security concerns on that front, where, I don't know, is OpenClaw only like reading or having access to context and history on a lot of different platforms and then using it to create something more meaningful on Nullshot, or does it go both ways? Are there things people should be aware of?
Yeah, it's well, first if you set everything private and you're not publishing what we're talking about here, then it's yours, right? You're not going to be Nobody's going to be able to take anything. You own it. It is your IP. We're not looking to even learn it, use it for learning or anything, right? So the second thing is we are using, especially in the idea of blocks, which we'll talk about, but AI skills, we're taking about 12,000 skills as we speak, is being indexed into our AI directory.
Mm,
And this is from the Claw Hub and like all these other public open source skills that are being generated. So we want to make sure our website and our let's just call it library, is up to date with the world. All right.
yeah,
And then the hope is that people who do find a gap in the world, they create their thing that they're willing to share. They can go create a custom AI skill, or maybe they didn't even know it. Like when they asked OpenClaw to like go do this thing, it's like, well, I can't do it yet, but I will teach myself. And it creates its own skill, and it asks you, hey, do you want me to publish this for other people to use it? You can make money. Like that's going to be the conversation. So there's definitely different levels in terms of sharing. It's going to hopefully be an external interface, and also in terms of getting external skills, and then also hopefully a community ourselves is sharing too.
yeah, no, makes sense. I think a question a lot of people will have with regards to that is the price point. And I guess when you're using all those different models, there's a cost associated with it. I know you've talked about the cost structure, for Nullshot, which is definitely like very attractive and optimized. When you think about Asian Claude, do you have like another idea on that front, or is it just kind of built into everything?
Yeah, we realize like as I go down the rabbit hole of like trying to figure out this business, it's not something that needs walls, right? You don't need a minimum spend to get Agent Claw. You don't need a minimum for getting 10 people on here and you pay per seat. Like The thing is, if you are chatting apps to life, if you are chatting with agents, we're gonna make money.
Mm,
So why hinder, or make that a wall to go over to be able to chat? We just want you to go in and start chatting.
mm,
So for us, the pricing model is actually very basic, and it's going to just have different tiers still. It's not just usage like most platforms,
mm,
because since we're a smaller company, I think we can actually give back to our biggest fans. So the highest tier, which is the DGen, for
mm,
$500 a month, we'll get a total of 25% off of all usage.
mm.
So yeah, it's but the starting model, like, we also did a poll within our community. We actually have a lot of people here in Asia where, they're in lower income, countries that can't spend too much. First of all, we're helping them by giving them access to the best open source models that are affordable, like GLM 4.7. And secondly, we decided to start our tier at $5. So
Mm.
that's the tier that people felt a coffee is the way to start.
Every time I hear like the $5, I think is a perfect analogy. It's like it's a cup of coffee, and you're getting access to something that's so powerful and transformative that, yeah, I guess it makes sense. Are there any risk, I guess, for because it is an agent and it's performing tasks, even when you're not necessarily looking at it? Is there a chance that maybe the costs go higher if I don't know if it's running too much, or does it stop? Being useful if you're not looking at it, or charging anything if you're not looking at it. I'm just kind of thinking about it being active versus idle and how it actually works, with the server cost and the electricity, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, just a friendly reminder, like, for everybody that's listening in, you can go to Nullshot AI right now and use the code earlybird and get instant access. And what's special about that is that for the next 7 days, it's all you can eat. We're gonna pay the bill. You can play, have fun, enjoy the problems with us. Let us know, any issues that you're running into, so we can fix them. But you can actually get in right now. Starting after, if you're not hearing this and this code is expired, there's another way to get in by referring 3 people or buying a subscription. But
Mm,
even when you buy that subscription, you still get the all you can eat for the first week, which is pretty cool. So the protection mechanism of this, after this, buffet that we're giving for 7 days, is that you could set usage limits. So if this thing is running, 24/7,
mm,
actually, one of the features we do want to add is, like, how often does Agent Claw think? Is it thinking every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes? So when does it wake up and think for itself, to think about how to do things autonomously? So that's something you can control and set soon. Then, in terms of usage, if you have your usage set at $5, or if you increase it to 10 or 7 or 20, as you're approaching it, you will then see what's happening.
mm,
The thing is, like, all this data that we're giving you access to is, the reason why we're doing this buffet is because that data is not ready.
mm,
We wanted to make sure you can experience it because it's very unique and novel. But if you actually go scrape and get data from Twitter, Elon Musk charges, I think, about 2.5 cents. Sorry, 0.025, so like a quarter of a cent per tweet.
mm,
If you want to get that data, so he's essentially selling,
yeah.
Twitter data directly, out. So we charge, a small margin on that, like maybe a third of a cent or something like that, and that's what we would charge you, as you're doing it. But we don't want you to use that feature without being warned. So you have to enable Twitter data in 7 days. But today, again, all you can eat, enjoy that Twitter data for the next week.
Super cool. No, I love it. And so tell me again, I know you've talked about how easy it is to set up. Can you tell me about the stuff that it can be connected to, or things that I don't know, that, yeah, that can be plugged into, and how complicated is it? Is everything kind of a one-click process? Is there some stuff that requires API key input, others not? Like, tell me about it.
Yeah, everything is a one-click process. So when you are going for a Twitter data, thing that we're just talking about, you want some tweet data. Today there's no click, but eventually it will say, like, hey, you haven't enabled Twitter data. Do you want to enable it? You say yes, and it tells you, you'll be charged, a third of a cent per tweet or whatever,
Mm,
and then that's that. And let's say that you want to connect it to Telegram, so you can start talking about it in Telegram. Usually with OpenClaw, you need to go talk to this thing called the bot father and get this secret key, and then get these webhooks set up, and there's all kinds of stuff that's required to get a Telegram OpenClaw running. For us, you just show up, go under the dashboard and connections, and then you click 2 clicks, connect to Telegram, authorize, and you're in. And then it will send you a message on Telegram. So yeah, that's everything is one click. In terms of things that we don't support, you can create an AI skill or find an AI skill for that. So like for example, if you want OpenClaw or AgentClaw to generate nano banana images, which we will have soon,
mhm,
right now, you can use a Nano Banana skill, which then that's where you bring your API keys and start using that, which will take a bit more of a setup because you might need to go put a credit card on a third party and get the key, figure out what that even means, if you ever heard of that or not, and get it going. But eventually, again, like we're gonna be looking for the top partners that you guys tell us. Like if you want images, videos, by default without having to go anywhere, you just let us know and we'll prioritize that.
mm. Beautiful. I'm asking probably a somewhat tech ignorant question, but I've heard that there's a lot of Mac Minis that are essentially being bought, and that there's even like now a backlog, or that the stores can't sell because too many people have bought them. And my understanding is that OpenClaw has to be kind of hosted locally, or if it doesn't have to, it can, and a lot of people enjoy that. I'm guessing with Asian Claw and the interaction with Nullshot, it's not that set up, or at least it doesn't require you to have anything held locally. Can you talk about the hosting server side of thing?
Yeah, yeah. So there's the Mac Minis, which are computers that people have been buying and putting OpenClaw on. And that's pretty cool because it has its own browser. It can act like a real person. It's really hard to detect since it owns a machine like that. And then there's people who's like, why are you spending $1,000 or $2,000 on a Mac Mini? Go get a VPS, which is known as a virtual private server, for
Mhm.
$5 a month. Now, these are cool, but you're paying $5 a month at minimum. And then you need to pay for the AI LLM tokens on top of that, right? So that's something, that's pretty affordable, makes sense, etc. But in reality, Agent Claw doesn't actually take that much horsepower. It's not like something that needs a full dedicated computer like a Mac Mini or some server in the cloud. It's something that could just run when it runs, and it requires very little horsepower.
Mm,
So that's where serverless comes into play, and we're probably the first serverless Agent Claw provider. And what does that mean? It means that there is no dedicated machine sitting there 24/7 for you. What happens is that we boot up a very tiny machine that runs and executes your message on behalf of you. And then once that message has been processed, it did its thinking, it does its action, and it ends, it stops. The machine turns off. So you literally pay per second for these machines. So this is a tech called serverless. If you're technical, you might be thinking Lambda functions, workers, things like that. And that's exactly what we're doing. So we'll be charging infrastructure costs at a per second level, and that per second cost is like 0.000001 cent or something like that per second. It's very tiny. It's way tinier than LLM costs. Let's just say that.
right.
So yeah, very excited to see how people think of it, and like if it runs just as well, because it's a bit different than the OpenClaw setup.
Mm. Okay, beautiful. Cool. Look, I feel like we've set enough of the scene, in terms of the feature and the process and the security and the cost and the comparative or differentiation, and so on. Um, would you be able to kind of like, let's talk about it practically? What does the process look like? Can you kind of take us through the different steps, what we can build with it, and what we can build with it, and so on? Let's say I'm just on Nullshot now. What does it look like for me to use Agent Claw?
Yeah, I mean, maybe what I'll do is I'll just share my screen, and we can
Okay.
just like kind of take a quick peek at
Yeah.
what it looks like.
So this is so
To
what you're going to show us now is something that someone on Nullshot today, like on the just the main website or the main platform, can access, right? It's not like some behind closed door demo.
Yep.
Mm,
Yep. Again, if you take the code early bird, you'll
mm,
be able to sign up right now and be able to play with it. The version that I am going to show is a bit ahead of schedule, which is what you guys will be seeing hopefully in a couple hours.
mm.
Cool. Could you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, just to show you again, I was kind of talking about what's going to be coming up soon. We got a video tab here, but we won't go into that. But what you would do is that you would just start your jam and click on the claw agent and click the next button. And then we're just going to do like Coops test agent here, and then we'll create it. So then underneath the hood, we're spawning that serverless, machine real quick to get things running. We're also creating, a storage, for your information so that it can remember it. And we're also creating this canvas that it can manipulate in real time as well. So here we are. It's going to take a moment for it to wake up, but I'll go ahead and send a message. And right here, we have our canvas on the right side, which is where visualizations come up. We have the claw at the top left that's asking how to assist. And we have this call right here, call agent claw,
Mm,
which is the voice activation, which maybe we can do in a moment. So we're talking about, like what could we do with it? So maybe I want to be like, hey, can you schedule a reminder for me tomorrow to tell my wife that I love her at 7 a.m. And it's something that it can do to store, what is known as reminder or like scheduled prompts in the future.
mm,
So right now it's processing and accessing that, and it's scheduled it. And if we wake up tomorrow at
mm,
7 a.m.
mm,
Or if I check my Telegram, I will see this reminder to tell her I love her. So that's that. The next one is the dashboard here at the top. We have those connections that I was talking about.
right.
So it's as easy as clicking connect and then continuing the Google or connect, and it goes to the Telegram and logging in as
Yeah.
my account,
Yeah.
and then connecting it to Slack. So these are the three areas that we can connect to right now.
Mm,
And within, again, a couple clicks, you then have a place to chat with it right away. There's also file storage. So if it creates files or you create files, you can upload files here.
mm,
And this is where soon you'll have access to any video and any image creation that you'll be able to play with.
mm,
If you want to like categorize like work, for example, like maybe this is our general chat, but maybe here we want to work on a project like Coop's cool dashboard, for example. We can actually just create different channels just like on Slack,
mm.
to be able to talk to it and kind of organize the conversation versus having to just have one long chat that lasts forever. So I'll pause there so far. There's still more to show, but happy to answer any questions because I know this is probably the first time you're seeing it.
No, yeah. And so in between the different chats, like what you just did, is there an interactiveness, if you will, between the different chats? Like, do they have memory across different projects or chats, or is it separate per line?
Yeah, exactly. So you will be having memory across different chats, across different mediums. So if you're on Telegram, it's going to also know about all the different chats that you have going on.
Hmm.
And then it does have memories. So if you ask it to remember things, or if you start planning and like directing it, like this is the type of agent you are, these are the things that we should be thinking about. It'll start remembering these things and summarizing these things into its memories so that it has more context for you.
Mm. Okay. Makes sense. And you showed the integration. So I saw Google, Slack, Telegram. Is there any plan to add more integrations? I'm guessing WhatsApp off the top of my head, but also probably other working platforms.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones that isn't a thing. I think only one or two people have done it. Just recently is like on X. Like I would love to talk to Agent Claw on X and tell
Right.
it to, remind me to consume this tweet, or summarize all this crap that's below, and in this insane thread that's happening. Or
Yeah.
maybe somebody posts an idea and soon you're like, hey, could you go ahead and jam this on null shot? And it goes and it creates a jam, for you.
Mm.
So X is going to be one of them. Discord, all there's I think there's over 40 integrations that it has, and it's actually quite hard to know which one to do next. And soon, what we're going to do is we're going to have a roadmap where people will be able to upvote ideas so that they can help us prioritize this, because at this point there's so much to do, we just don't know what you want.
Mm. Okay, I understand. Yeah. Um, and not to put you on the spot, but I think you talked about a few applications that were being built, with the Agent Claw, or at least on Nullshot right now. Can you give us some examples of either stuff that has been built, is being built, or could be built, that you think is exciting?
Yeah, so I mean, the applications that we're testing on the early side externally, like what everybody else is playing with right now,
Mm.
is full stack apps. So everything from like inventory management. There's this awesome coaching app that people are getting coached on how to film themselves and how to speak and go viral on social media. So somebody's making around $30,000 a month on that right now, and we're about to debut a partnership with them. We also have this app called Bandcamp AI, which we're not sure what the final name is going to be, but we're partnering with a KOL who's been huge into the music and audio industry, that just got signed for 9 figures, which is nuts, for creating AI music and AI art. Right, top
Yeah.
two charts in the UK, and she's wanting to help get AI artists uplifted out of this, because Bandcamp and other places are banning AI generated stuff.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, even though some people might debate like AI doesn't have soul, AI is slop, the stuff that she's creating, is she's going to be given a TED talk in April for it, because it does have soul, and she has manifested something beautiful in a community of 3 million people around it. So those are some of the external things that we're doing, like being able. And when I say that, let's talk technically. So we're talking about uploading music and streaming it. Apps that do that.
Yeah.
We're talking about like onboarding people with AI directories, of being able to like take your videos and judge them, and be able to coach you on like creating videos, analyze your videos, and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So these are the things that people are building, which are really exciting. In terms of what's a little hint of like what's happening, is that we've launched some agents that are building on their own,
Right.
and we've essentially said go that way, and it is just doing stuff.
Mm.
So one experiment that's happening internally right now is the Launchpad. So there is an AI that is working on our Launchpad day and night tirelessly to essentially create what we'll be doing to tokenize these apps in the future. So that's nuts. And the other one is working on a virtual world
Mm.
that it's you can log in with OpenClaw
Hmm.
and play in an MMO with other agents. So, and the amount of content that it's generating right now is just insane. So it has quests, and it's like you're able to move around and get currencies. And right now, I was talking to it this morning. It says that it's actually going to put the blockchain, or sorry, the economy on the blockchain.
Mm.
So I
Impressive.
believe next week it will actually have some contracts on RL1
Mm.
that will be launching for Nullshot. So I know that's a mouth load. Like it's
Oh,
it's
that's
it's
great.
very cool. Yeah, it's very fun. But we're really trying to show here that it's going to be able to do big and small things in our community.
Yeah, that's super exciting. I'm also just, really thinking out loud here, but I guess there's also a future where when you see something new that's popping up, like a new application or a new feature that you think is really exciting, you could literally just go on Nullshot and ask your agent Claude to do it. And so instantly a new idea can be duplicated and replicated, or maybe not instantly, but with a little bit of elbow grease, I guess, can be recreated, right?
That's exactly right. It's exactly that. I mean, that's what's so exciting about the world. Which we will be in the position where we see a Twitter thread, it's going viral. They talk about this idea, and 50 people within an hour have built an app for it. Like that is the future, which is
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
But but like right now, with that ACP that I was talking about, where Cursor will be integrated into Nullshot, and null shot can be integrated into Cursor.
Mm,
That's what's crazy is because I saw that literally on a tweet yesterday,
mm,
and it's not my tech; it's actually Cursor's tech. I sent it into an agent and said, "Hey, here's some technology. I want you to implement it, integrate it into null shot."
mm.
And 3 hours later, it has something for me to review. The only
Nice.
reason why it's not on Nullshot is because there's too much stuff to review. So, I think you remember our live session, how there's just too many channels to review when people started generating stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. It's a good problem to have, I would say. Yeah, I just want to also maybe talk again. Previously, you talked about skills. Basically, can you just reiterate, kind of what it means and how it's usable by various users and, yeah, the implications, I guess, for Nullshot or on Nullshot?
Yeah, maybe I'll share my screen again
Mm,
here, so and just kind of show it visually in terms of what's available. So we have AI skills here at the top.
mm,
So right now, as I was saying, as I speak, we are indexing thousands of skills. So right now it's at probably around the 100 mark, and you can be able to search or categorize, particular skills that you would want to use. Now
mm,
this one's in Chinese. We
mhm.
probably want to maybe make this a language agnostic, skill, and like
Right.
translate these. But of course, I can just oh, it doesn't. Oh, yeah, there we go. If anybody doesn't know how to use Chrome, just right click,
Mm,
and yeah, and now you can kind of read it and do your thing, and you can add it to an agent.
mm,
Um, so when you add it to, these are some of my test agents from earlier. But you'll be able to add, agents, these skills to be able to perform certain things. Now, this tells you exactly what it does. This actually shows you what's underneath the hood for you nerds to actually see. And if you actually read this, you'll learn more about how it's used and how the AI is going to understand it.
mm,
Especially when you read the skill MD, it's kind of clear on like what it's going to be doing, etc. So those are the external skills.
mhm,
If I go back to our agent on the left side,
mm,
you'll also have a good idea of like our default skills that
mm,
we have injected, which are a bunch of different skills that are existing from Claude, OpenClaw, which are there by default.
mhm,
And then there's a bunch of custom skills that we have created as well. So yeah, tons of stuff out there, and there's also the AI skill jam room, which we won't get into right now. But if you don't see what you want, you just click on AI skill, click next. You can then debate with an AI to create one of these things that you can publish on AI skills or just use it internally privately for yourself.
mm. I love this. But I'm not saying that to be nice, but I'm just always impressed by your ability to deliver stuff that is relevant to the current zeitgeist in a way. Because like I'm just like super. I read so much about AI, and every time I feel like on a weekly basis there's some update that at least relates to that on Nullshot, at least when it's relevant. So it's just super cool to see it kind of operational and usable already. Um,
Yeah, I think every time we chat, you're like, "Oh, this idea, that idea, it's all coming," but now it's like, "Well, here it is," right?
yeah. I mean, it's almost becoming like a freaky, as in like you're predicting the stuff that I'm wanting. Where like in my head I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if this was easier to connect or easier to implement? Or I've been wanting to try this technology, but I can't be bothered to blah blah blah. And then I'm like, well, actually on Nullshot, it's kind of doable. So yeah, it's
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome because I think we're gonna get to the stage where this platform is actually a place where it will be doable. And then you're gonna be like, but I wish I had this and that. It's like it's here, but
mm,
there's always like a small nuance of that personalization
yeah,
that you're looking for, and that's where you can literally just talk to Claw and it will just create it for you. So yeah, I think it's crazy. We're so fortunate to be have like invested into vibe coding and into this thing because it's something that I saw this awesome tweet the other day that reminded me about where we're at. It's the AI slop video of the Will Smith eating
right, yeah.
spaghetti. Have you seen this one? Did you see the recent one with the 2026
Yeah, I
video?
saw like the progression. I think it was very nicely made. Where we see the first iteration, then the second iteration of like let's say 2023, and then so on, and it just gets better and better to the point where it's freaky.
Yeah, yeah, because I remember because I always say that video was the first like breakthrough in AI,
Mm,
which blew my mind. Right, seeing an image instantaneously get created, and
yeah,
now you're seeing videos instantaneously get created. Right, like,
yeah.
and I say that we're gonna have instantaneous apps, and right now we're all fumbling, on all these apps trying to build things.
Mm,
But like if you look at the second video where Smith's face is all like distorted and like kind of getting freaky, that's where we're at with vibe coding.
yes.
We're right there making freaky apps,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
but video's ahead of us, right? So just for the people who haven't watched it, we go from this very freaky, deformed, video creation, and the last video, 2026, that they posted of him eating spaghetti is a full-on conversation with his son, and it looks so realistic, and it's like different shots and angles and him taking that famous bite that
Mm,
usually gets all deformed and funky, and
yeah.
it's like perfect. Next year I mean, I wouldn't say perfect. I think we have one more year, but it's
Yeah.
like it's right there.
Yeah, I definitely think it can always get better. And like something that frustrates me so much with AI across all the different medium, I guess, is sometimes you'll talk to people who are more bearish or negative, on the technology that are like, oh, but I can still kind of see that it's not, this. And they're almost like discounting the entire progression that's been made in just a couple of years. And so the idea which you're alluding to right now, which is this is the worst that it's ever going to be, right? And like if it takes another year, or even if it takes 3 years or another 5 years, that's just like a fraction of time to get to a world where so many things that were impossible 3 years ago are now possible, basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
No, it's nuts, and I think people will be always be skeptical, and then when it is perfect, I think people will always challenge it. But at the end of the day, I think the majority of the world is fearful of change. Change isn't comfortable,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and if people just lean into that, they will change their lives in the near future.
Yeah.
It'll be normal in 5 years, but like
Mhm.
if they just lean in right now, there is an opportunity to just have fun with. It's fun. At the end of the day, it's like a child. It as much as you want to. Yeah, it's crying and this and that, dude. They're beautifully fun. Like,
Yeah. So
and
fun.
that's where we're at with this thing. It's a sandbox.
That's how they get you, Coop. That's how, the benevolent overlord of the future is like, oh, but it was so fun to use AI, and then they will develop into something we can't control. I'm just kidding.
Yes, yes. I
Uh,
mean, we're definitely gonna go there too. So
the
it's
witch with the candies, it's like, oh, it's really fun and very tasty. You should totally come in the house. Um, Look, Coop, I'm cognizant of time, right? Because we're getting close to an hour. I still have like one or two more questions. Maybe the more important one before we close is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or want to talk about, with regards to null shots beyond, I guess, Agent Claw, right? Because we've talked mostly about that. Anything else in terms of video shorts, Kinto blocks, any other ability that you've been working on in the past few weeks or that are coming up in the next few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked a lot about the video stuff. So I think I really want to talk about the idea of Kinto blocks. So I founded a company called Kinto Hub in 2017, and the idea was to create these reusable blocks that programmers create, that could be sold. So, what is a block? A block is the sign up page. You know, login, password, forgot password, login with Google. I mean, there's must have been coded a million times by a million individuals because we're all hacking like monkeys on keyboards, right? And getting paid for it really well. So it's the idea was like, well, let's skip the BS. Let's focus on the juice of a product and be able to just copy paste, a lot of these things that are functionally working. The problem with that business was that developers are very particular. If that block is weird, like they're not going to use it, and that's why I had to pivot to a different thing that actually sold to Jack Dorsey's Cash App. But at the end of the day, I still have a special place in my heart for that concept. Now, who doesn't have an opinion but codes is AI. And if there was a plethora of blocks that are available to use that an AI can choose, it would. And the reason why you would as a user is for two reasons. One is right now we're paying, $2 or $3, for a button, like a really nice button that's functional to Opus and OpenAI. But if you, Justin, created that button and this code or logic that is 80% similar to what I'm interested in, and it's public, it's available out there. When my AI on Nullshot, it's not OpenClaw, this is just our general programming AI,
Yeah.
goes out to build, it'll do a quick search in 300 milliseconds to see what out of millions of blocks, what is out there that I can use. Oh, Justin has something that's like 80% what I want. Let me read it. I like it. Let me paste it into my project. Now I just saved, $3, right? I should tip you for you paying $3
Mm,
to have created this thing.
mm,
So invisibly, like the user, there's no choosing, there's no thinking. There's a chat where the AI is doing its thing, and it has saved you, 90% or whatever the margins are going to be
yeah.
just by doing a quick search. And you, just by participating in our community, just made 30 cents. And if
Hmm.
that scales to tens of thousands or millions of
Yeah.
developers,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lifetime salary right there, right? So, so I'm very excited about this because it's the vision that I had, almost 10 years ago, kind of coming back. I can't wait to call the investors once we have a million users doing this from 2017 and be like, "Yo, we did it!" Just 10 years later.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about it, and I hope that artists and engineers and laymen's come and start contributing to our product because it's going to help us save money. It's going to help AI move faster, and this is going to help us explore in a stronger way with like things that are proven and working. So I'm super excited to call them Kinto blocks because it's kind of a thank you to the original idea of Kinto Hub.
Super cool. No, I love the concept, and again, I think it's just such a great synthesis of different worlds that come in and help each other or make things more efficient. So that's super cool. Maybe to wrap things up, Coop, anything you want to ask of the audience, in terms of engagement, whether it is on social media or on trying out the platform, or for the early users in terms of feedback, like tell us everything that you would want out of the community in terms of moving this forward.
Yeah, I mean, right now, feedback is important. I appreciate everybody that's been around for the last few months since October's original release and seen it evolve and go to what it is today. And it's been a long road, both for my motivation, both for our team size, and I'm really trying to prove that this is possible with a small group, right? I'm watching Replit and these large companies and hundreds of millions of dollars go into it, and I'm hungry to compete. I'm hungry to play the same ballpark. And so, in order to do that, though, and to prove that $1 billion business could be built by a small, very small group. It will require us to come together. And I'm really hoping again that this is something that flows towards Zava, our home token, that will be a proper decentralized company.
Mm.
So really excited about that. The next thing is, again, if you're watching this for the next 24 hours, early bird, you can use that as your referral code when you sign up, and you can get instant access without putting in a credit card and without needing to refer 3 people, because there's going to be a gate that's going to block you. And again, for the next 7 days, you'll get an all-you-can-eat buffet before we turn on the usage meter. So enjoy and give us feedback. We're paying for that feedback, and really excited to see what you guys build. So I think that's I guess, like, don't feel shy to share this code early bird, to your friends and to anybody. It's an unlimited code, for anybody to be able to do it. So like, retweet, do whatever you can to spread the word, because this is going to take a community to make Null Shot feel special. It's not going to be cool with us just jamming by ourselves. It's called jam for a reason. You don't. I guess you could jam by for yourselves, but jamming with people is a lot more fun.
Oh, that's super cool. And maybe last quick points in terms of the timeline. Like, is it public yet? Is it fully live? Like, to tell us about that. Just
So
to, I
right
guess.
now you'll feel some hiccups on all the above that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
I'm literally about to press the big green button and push out the fixes.
Mm.
You'll also see our pricing page, go up. Once that go up, I think we are probably 90 minutes out, max, if not 15 to 20. We'll see when that goes. But you could go talk to OpenClaw right now. You can start there. You can start jamming on some ideas and planning it, at least right now. So go ahead and check out what AI skills you're going to be interested in using, and come join our Discord. Start giving us feedback on the issues that you're seeing, and we'll be cranking away in the next few days on this stuff.
Awesome. Cool. Super interesting session. Thanks so much for coming and sharing all of that feedback. I'm just super excited, and I feel like the community must be too. And I'm sure we'll see the result of that, in the coming days and weeks as people start using it more. Let's close it here. Thanks so much for anybody who's dialed in or is listening to this as a recording. And again, follow us on the different platforms. Try the early bird code if you still have time to do that. And hopefully we'll see you around at the next session.
Cool. Before we do that, I'm going to enable Dave to come
Oh,
up on the stage. He said just now he's wanting to come up and say something. So I'm going to put him on the spot,
sure.
since we
Yeah.
just saw his message, for him to say his 2 cents for the glory of the OG Zava community.
Yeah. Let's have Dave on.
All right. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, cool. I didn't really have anything to say. You just asked me if I wanted to come on. But regarding decentralized companies and all that, I think, we've talked about this, the idea that this is the story that crypto needs. Can there be a real business? Can there be something that actually the token is actually representative of something? I remember, a few years ago, you would talk to teams and they'd say, oh, we're doing an equity raise. And I'd ask them, I said, what does the equity actually represent? So it didn't even represent revenues in the company, but they would raise money via an equity raise. Then they'd be pushing out a token, and then there'd be an NFT sale. So that made no sense whatsoever. So the idea that we can kind of consolidate something under a token and have it representative of this thing holistically, represented by a DAO, is the promise of what all this stuff is. So it's kind of epic. Coop's going to push the big green button, and I'm glad I got to hop on for a second. That's all.
Nah, appreciate word, man. I think I guess, like, the just quickly last note on Zava DAO. We are about to post an update about this organization that owns Null Shot. And you could think of, for the people who don't know crypto and understand crypto, what we're really talking about here is that everybody has an opportunity to own Null Shot. It's as if we have already IPO'd without the product, and now it's slowly coming to life. And that token's called Zava. So, but how does this organization work? You have a bunch of shareholders or token holders, quote unquote. We're going to have our first meeting at the end of the month and talk about the grander picture of, what are we doing, how do we think we're doing so far with Null Shot, and take a much more, let's just say, co-owner meeting of everybody who has a stake in what's happening, and get direct feedback from them, and see what's going on. So we'll be posting some news about that next week. And yeah, I really, like, I guess on a sentiment of that, I'm excited that this is coming from a crypto point of view. I know that maybe some people are here that are just excited to build with AI, just excited to like play with Agent Claw. But there's not that many businesses that come with such, I believe, product market fit that works with consumers, works with developers, works outside of finance. Right? We're all in the finance stuff in crypto that's actually making money. I was hoping Web3 games was going to be the thing, but right now I think it's Null Shot. So I'm really proud that this is being born out of crypto, and it's going to take a community to keep it going. So yeah, happy Friday to everyone, and
Happy
we'll
Friday,
talk soon.
yeah, thanks.